All right, so I'll read a little bit here. The enemy of my enemy is still my enemy. An analysis of the teenage thug victory over the Baltimore Police Department. Black youths attack me and threaten me about 4 times as often as I am harassed by the cops. However, I count the cops as my greater enemy, for it is they who assure that I am unarmed, and therefore as helpless as possible before the youths whom they also count as their enemy. The news will tell you it was about human rights, the rights of a black man to not be beaten to death by cops. When white men are beaten to death, I've known a few, it has never been news. But most of the horrified Baltimoreans I know have been saying pretty much follows Steve-O's subject line from work last night. That was a coworker of his. When he greeted me at the front door as if I had just accomplished some great feat by making it out of the ghetto to work. Look, we know the pigs are brutal. They beat my ass a half dozen times when I was a kid. And when they throw you in the paddy wagon, they never strap you in. Then they drive like complete assholes. They didn't beat him because he was black, but because he's a drug dealer that they're sick of locking up. Sure, the cops are the enemy, but why are you going to burn down your neighborhood and attack me because some douchebag cop beat some knucklehead to death? Many of the whites in Baltimore are somewhat to the right of Steve-O, but still, the discussion stays in the feminine zone. The, oh, how come bad things happen, hand-wringing of the woman, which has become our national form of discourse. I prefer to look at things tactically like a man. Oh, big man here. So what is your memory of that article, or if the theme of the book in general?
The gods are fighting and I'm a human. Okay, you got 100,000 dudes that hate me because somehow I raped all their mamas and grandmamas, okay?
Oh, devil.
And then 2,000 cops that hate me because I walk alone and unarmed where they're afraid to go, and a police cruiser with a gun and body armor.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just doing it to get to my $10 an hour job. I had cops glaring at me while they were buying donuts in that supermarket while I was stocking the case.
They glare
because
at
they had
you.
seen. I mean, that's crazy. These guys are making 10 times as much money as I'm making. Steve-O grew up in historic Dundalk, and he's a guy. Remember, he was renting at the time a place on the Baltimore County waterfront with his wife and child. And when I was getting rid of all my stuff, we brought him that Hungarian sword.
I remember Steve-O.
Which he really loved. Super thick guy. He was basically the protector of the people in his family. And he wasn't a guy that went out and broke laws or anything like that. But he would the cops would recreationally beat him up for just hanging out on a street corner with a couple of his friends when he was 10, 12, 13 years old. So this is a story that never gets out because Steve-O didn't look the part. You know, that all the news is for the consumption of suburban women. That's what news is written for. And to the extent that it's for men, it's for a man that identifies with a feminine viewpoint. It might disagree on some political particulars with his wife, but he's looking at everything through the safety first, safe space thing. I work hard, I pay my taxes, so there should be an army of guys making sure I never have to look over my shoulder before I get into my car.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so when that's your attitude, which was not Steve-O's attitude, and it wasn't my attitude. When that's your attitude, then this is what you get. You get an army of guys with their boot on your neck, and you become a cow in a feed stall.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. So the crime of looking at things tactically, you know, like I would never mouth off to a cop. When I know a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, you know, I will mouth off to it. No. I second that. Don't ever do that. Right. So this is something that you know, Steve-O knew from when he was a kid, and I knew that survival of an individual during a planned and executed implosion of the social structure in the place where you're living, where the criminal elements who have been irritated and agitated by the police are given a red flag to go do whatever they want, and the police get repurposed once they come back on regular duty to look at you, to look at me, not the criminals.
Oh, yeah.
That are walking around. During this period, there was a girl at the 7-Eleven out in Middle River wouldn't give the cops free fried chicken, so they stopped coming to the store
Wow.
to check. She's the only business open. But
She should
they
have
couldn't
kept giving them the,
right.
the
She
free
should have kept
fried
giving them
chicken.
free
That's
food.
right.
You know.
How you crazy?
So it's just so. But my writing was just always, and during this period, I just tried to keep it of how you survive as a person, uh, and not be concerned with all this planned and engineered and systemically executed social disintegration.
Yeah.
So that's still my viewpoint on it.
Controlled demolition. Yeah, like I said, this is like I said when you're right, because also this is the backdrop of 2015, I believe, if I remember. I think it was more maybe a little later, but I think already the Orange Man was making waves at this point in terms of the campaign. I think this might have been just before that, but it's not long in the coming when that gets thrown into the pot. But I won't belabor that. So anyway, yeah, check this out. Like I said, this is the book. In different stages, this made this man a household name.
Yeah, it was written in a month. Most of it was written in 10 days.
Yeah.